So they asked me, how did I come to Japan? I came to Japan like I had my last $730. Like I was afraid of being locked up again. I was afraid of me hurting or murdering someone, or I was afraid of being murdered at the time when I was living in New York City. So I decided that I was going to change my life around and do something sporadically and just move to Japan. So it was either two choices. People say, why Japan? It was either two choices. It was either China or Japan, being that I love martial arts. And I decided that, okay, these are the two birthplaces of martial arts. We got the Shaolin Temple and we have ninjutsu. I was a very highly motivated by my father watching all these karate films as a child, and I decided when I was 5 that I was going to move to one of these foreign countries. When I was 19, I decided to make the trip. I didn't have any tourist visa. I didn't have any friends. I didn't have anybody. I just came to Japan just in the hopes and having the faith that something good might happen, and that kept me going, like during the cold nights, like I spent homeless in the streets and not having a place to go, and not having, some days not having food, and just downright surviving, and it was really hard. It was far from easy, the road that I took to come to Japan, and a lot of people don't really understand the amount of time and effort that it actually took to get here, find a job, and I can remember like the first day of landing in Japan, going on the plane, asking where's a good place for foreigners to go. Landing in Chiba, in Narita, one of the flight attendants said, you should go to Roppongi. So the first night after landing in Japan, I'm in Roppongi, this bustling streets and lights full of illumination, foreigners, a lot of Africans, club owners. I was truly surprised. I had one determination to find a job because I didn't have a place to stay. So when it was around 6 p.m., I landed in Roppongi. I wind up asking everyone for a job. I went from club to club, down one end of the street. Excuse me, can I have a job? I don't have any house. I don't have any money. I was down. I came here with $30, so the urgency to move and to make, and the determination to want to survive was at its all-time high. Okay? So having that sense of survival made me not care. When you are down on your end, when you are down on your last, your pride goes out the window. But you don't sacrifice your integrity. Your pride goes out, but you never sacrifice your integrity. Okay? So when I was asking all of these shop owners, excuse me, can I have a job? I have no money. I have no place to stay. And I would get rejected, no after no after no, store after store. And, I asked Gas Panic, I asked Tyrese, I asked Matrix Club, I asked all these different clubs. And then I finally found one place. It was the Jamaican nightclub. It was the Kingston Bar. And the Kingston Bar, I told the owner, I said, hey, listen, I don't have anything. I don't have a place to stay. I don't have anything. I'm just looking for a job so I can make just a little bit of money so I can survive the night. The night. At the first night, survive the night. Okay? So when I got to the Kingston bar, he said, okay, what can you do? What can you do? He asked me. It was an African guy who talked in patois. He was like, what can you do? What can you do? I said, I can do whatever is required. I can hand out flyers. I can sweep the floors. I can serve the drinks. You know, I didn't have much experience bartending, but my experience was handing out flyers. You know, I've been handing out flyers since I was 14 years old. And the worst case scenario when I was 14 years old, handing out flyers in the street, when I saw these group of ladies decked out in fashion and they looked at me like I was shit, you know? And that look at a youngster at the age of 14 wearing an old gold sign, "We buy gold," big signboard carried on my back in the middle of 42nd Street, broke me down. It broke me down. It broke me down, 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 down. And from that point, my ability to ask anybody or present myself to anyone became much easier because I was already broken. So going back to the Kingston bar, I said to him, I can hand out flyers. So I go out, middle of Roppongi, new face, fresh fish, in the middle of the streets, handing out flyers for the Kingston bar. Hey, would you like to come to the club? The Kingston bar is a great place to come. Yo, this is where you need to be. You know, I pulled about 30 customers that night. I pulled 30 customers. I bring them from one location in front of the Donkey Honda. If you ever go to Roppongi, or if you ever visit Japan and you go to Roppongi, there's a Donkey Honda standing on that corner, pulling foreigners to about 100 meters away club, you know, and bringing them upstairs and then making them stay, and then going back outside, bringing more customers and more customers in one night. That was the first night I remember working. Now, me thinking I did a great job. I did a great job. I was thinking I did a great job. So I'm thinking I'm going to get paid something because I know at least the customers had to spend more than $20 or more than Nissan yen. That's what they call 22,000 yen. I'm thinking to myself, right? But to find out at the end of the night, at the end of the morning, it was early morning when I finished, about 3 a.m. in the morning, the owner of the club paid me in Jamaican food. He paid me in Jamaican food. I was so hungry that I could not complain about being paid in Jamaican food. And I didn't want to disrespect the dude and bring him back to the streets and say, yo, what's up? What's up with this? You know? So I ate the food peacefully. I sat down and I ate this food peacefully. And then he said to me, will you be back tomorrow? He said to me, he actually looked in my eyes and said, will you be back tomorrow? Because he knew I did a good job. He knew that I was special. He knew that I was the man. I bring 40 customers, 30 customers up to the place. And I said, yeah, sure, right. While going out of the club, I saw another club, and it was called Club Nature. A lot of people don't know what was Club Nature, but Club Nature at that time was like, the tunnel, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't as big as the tunnel, but it was like one of the most dopest nightclubs at that time. This is talking about 20 years ago. Okay? 22 years ago, Club Nature, Club Vietti, Club Nature, these were one of the most prominent clubs in Japan, in Roppongi at that time. So I went upstairs and I asked the club owner, can I speak to the club owner? Hey, I'm new in this town. I don't want to go back to America, and I need a job. I need to work. So this is what he did. The club owner, Frank, everybody knows Frank. Frank, out of the kindness of his heart, he said, sure, come back tomorrow. So the second day I'm in Japan, I got a job. And it was off of the books. It was off of the books because normally you can't hire people without visas. Okay? So there are 4 different types of visas. There's the work visa, there's a student visa, there's a tourist visa, and there's a spouse visa. I was under the tourist visa at the time. Okay? I was at the tourist visa at the time. So you're not allowed to hire people who don't have visas, work visas. If you do, you lose your license, you lose your club, you're out of business. Okay, so Frank took the time out of his busy schedule, and he took the courtesy, and he took a lot of trust in me to allow me to work under the books for his club, Club Nature. I started to work in Club Nature, back to in front of Donkey Honte, the large discount store where you see Bruno Mars dancing and smiling. It wasn't like that. It was very different at the time. No place to stay, remind you that. No place to stay, right? And Club Nature was the home place of the hustlers. Everybody was there. All the OGs were there. All the Americans, everybody was there. Everybody you knew was there. Everybody wanted to go to Nature. I would go outside, bring customers in, 20, 30 customers in. After bringing the customers in, I would clean the floors. I would find money. Low key, the first time I even worked in Nature that same night, I got head in the bathroom. It was crazy. But I don't want to, talk about that now. We talk about that in another story. Okay? All right. So after being established in Nature as one of the younger dudes who's a go-getter, that's when the next hustle began. The next hustle began selling CDs, selling jackets, selling T-shirts, selling food, selling DVDs, which was one of my downfalls because I did something a little wrong, but that's another story. I'm so New York. Please stay tuned. You're watching the update. This is how to live in Japan, followed by my experience. Thank you for tuning in, and let's continue next time. Peace.